All right, you hear a sound behind you. It's a person's voice. Or maybe something more sinister or inhuman. Either way, you just start running. Sound familiar?
Do you just scare yourself?
Hey, that looked pretty good, huh?
Yeah, it's a common horror movie trope you've probably seen over and over, either in theaters or huddled up on the couch with the blanket over your head, and somehow it's always effective and manages to keep us on the edge of our seats.
And it is exactly the kind of scene you can put together yourself. Here to tell us is how is resident movie buff. This is Rob Rector. He's the founder of Revival House Theater. Welcome
Good
back.
afternoon.
Thanks for having me back.
Tis the season, right?
It is my favorite time of the year, the most wonderful time of the year, absolutely, yes.
So
Yes.
let's just start talking about we're talking about the challenge you have. How long have you been doing this?
So this is our fifth year, not consecutively because we took a little break during COVID, but this is one of our kind of signature events for Revival House of all of the events that we do. And it's actually one of our favorites because it's an opportunity for local filmmakers or local artists that, regardless of their skill level, to really, put their talent to the test. And you have a certain amount of days in which you have to create, write, produce, edit, and submit a horror trailer.
And I took film history, and it's remarkable, and I want to talk to Rob about this. Trailers got their name because of an interesting place that they were put in films at the start.
Yes, back in the early 1900s, there was a theater owner, name was Nils Grundlin, and he owned an actual theater, but he had some footage of a play, an upcoming play, and he cobbled it all together and he played it at the end of one of the film screenings, and it caught on. And ever since then, you have this industry where they would even create serials, S-E-R-I-A-L-S, where, not Booberry. So serials of films that would end up with cliffhangers. So you would have to wait till the next week. So that would entice people to come back that next week and see what happens to the lead characters. So then from about 1919 all the way for the next 40 years, those trailers were done by just one production house. And then in the 1960s, directors like Alfred Hitchcock, Stanley Kubrick started making their own trailers, and then they started to go in front of the films and tease. And let's face it, sometimes going to the movies, that's the best part of going to the movies these days anyway.
Yeah, I love the trailers.
Yeah, because you filter it to its essence, and I think that's the fun part of this challenge is that you don't have to worry about storylines or character development. You can get right to the blood and guts, if you will.
Well, yeah. Okay, so with the challenge, you can make a trailer but not even have a movie.
Right. I mean, it's for a film, a hypothetical film that you may have in your mind, but then you can just go to the specific scenes that you want that are going to jar the audience. Some filmmakers decide that they're going to tell a little story in there and then tease an upcoming film. But it's more about just the content and being able to have fun and breaking out your camera with your friends and rushing to see if you can get everything done in a short period of time. And then we give away $1,000 to the winners the night of. So it's it's just a fun, challenging event.
And so there's a prompt that you give everybody as they start the challenge. What's the line that you're giving them?
So this year our line is "We've got company," and then there's a prop that they have to include, and that's hot sauce. And we try to make a prop something that's readily available.
Okay. It
was pliers, it was a fidget spinner in years past, and this year we figured hot sauce would be fun. And "We've got company" is one that's oft used in films throughout time, so we thought that would be a nice, easy one that they could work in there. So, yeah, we want to make sure that it's made specifically for this event, that somebody's not like dusting off an old film that they've had for a while and then just kind of throwing it out there for everyone. So we want to make sure that they're really up for the challenge.
All right.
I like it.
I like it too.
So we're not done with Rob just yet. Coming up next, we're taking a bit of a cinematic horror tour talking about our favorite spooky franchises. A lot of people don't like to get scared, but then again, A lot of people do. Whichever side you land on, it's hard to deny the cinematic merit of the horror franchise.
And with everything from unforgettable villains and monsters to groundbreaking practical special effects, the genre is a fan favorite and one that captivates generations of audiences. And as you might have guessed, we're still talking terror this afternoon. We're back with Rob Rector, founder of Revival House. And Rob, before we get into this conversation, I need you to show off your shirt there. That takes us back to a movie.
Speaking of franchises, yes, this is Camp Crystal Lake, also the site for Jason's mother during the original Friday the 13th back in 1980.
Yeah,
It's one of the first ones.
I think I saw it on opening weekend.
Did you?
Yes. In the theater. Okay, so what do you think makes this genre, the horror genre, so special?
There's a couple different things. From a filmmaker's perspective, they're relatively inexpensive to make. You don't have to go overboard with budgets, so you can do something fairly inexpensively and promote it and market it because there's a built-in audience for it. And I think from a viewer's perspective, there is a psychological event that takes place, a neurological, where we get that dopamine rush and we get the endorphins that rush in there, but we're still safe. So you've got kind of the best of both worlds there, and that's, I think, what makes it so enduring for so many years. I mean, since the dawn of cinema, one of the first few movies that were made were Durgalum, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari back in the early 1900s. That was one of the staples of cinema as we know it today.
What would you tell to somebody who is scared of horror movies to be able to get them to watch it?
I would say ease into it because you don't have to go directly for the Saw franchise.
No.
There's so many out there that are more psychological in their approach that just kind of lull you into this false sense of security,
right,
and then will give you a little jolt here and there, which is exactly what good horror should be. And a lot of times horror filmmakers like John Carpenter, they put in some more metaphorical topics in their horror films. So, the more you look into it, the good horror, you can peel layers back and it, reveals some more hidden context.
So I have to ask you, what's your favorite horror film or franchise, I guess, for that matter?
It'll change, but I got to go back to, speaking of John Carpenter, The Thing for me is something that I go back to time and time again because it's just so expertly crafted and so well made, and it's still got great splatter effects, some practical gore effects, but it still hits all the right notes for me.
What about you, Mike?
I have two franchises that I like. One is the Scream franchise because of how it revolutionized horror, because it basically made fun of itself.
Exactly.
And then off of the Saw franchise. I love the Saw franchise, but I like the Cube franchise better.
Oh yeah, there's 3 of those,
There's
I think.
3 of
right?
those.
Yeah.
If you've never seen Cube and you like Saw, watch yourself a little bit of Cube.
And it's a little bit more psychological than Saw.
Exactly.
Saw's a little bit more direct. Cube takes a little bit more of a philosophical approach to it. So
But it's the same idea as Saw.
Exactly.
So it messes with your mind a little bit more. Lisa, what's your favorite scary movie?
I like the Geico commercial where they run into the, no. That's about all I can handle. No, I think my favorite is probably the first one I ever saw, and that is Carrie.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Brian De Palma.
Yeah, that scared the heck out of me, and it just stuck with me, and I'm able to watch it over and over again. Plus, it was like John Travolta's one of his first movies.
Yeah, and again, that took a more psychological approach too. I mean, it was, again, what we were talking about before is what you don't see. Because our mind has the ability to go to very dark places if we want to.
Also, what I love about horror is that a lot of the actors that have made big names for themselves got their start in horror. John Travolta, Johnny Depp, 2 of the biggest names in movies.
Jennifer Aniston. Exactly. There's a lot of people. George Costanza.
Right.
Jason Alexander
got his start in a movie called The Burning, I think, and that was with I think it was it Holly Hunter? I think she was in there too. But you're right. A lot of them starred in these really kind of quick, easy to make horror films. Kevin Bacon from Friday the 13th, you know, and then
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis, exactly. And I think we're seeing, you know, another round of those kind of actors today who you see in several of the film series, because it's an easy way to make a breakout and then move on into something a little bit more prestigious, as you will. But I still have a soft spot for the stray dog that is horror.
All right, so real quick, give us a quick recap on the Horror Trailer Challenge.
Yes, so the Horror Trailer Challenge, October 25th. That's a Wednesday night, 6 o'clock at the Milton Theater. We will screen all of our entrants, and we will give away $1,000 to the winners. Anyone can enter. There is no fee to enter. There is all the information that you need is on the revivalhousetheater.com, and we hope to see everyone there. It's going to be a fun event.
Wonderful.
Yes, it is.
And scary.
And scary.
Scary,
Yes. Love having you here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.